All right, so I'm going to go through some of the examples that you will see on your test. I'm going to start with the easier ones and then work my way forward. All right, so the first thing, remember, if you are having trouble, I did tell you guys to draw a line going down from your equation, and it kind of helps remind you that if I'm moving things across the line, I need to take the inverse operation. If I'm just combining on one side of the line, then I don't need to. So in this case, our first step is to always simplify as much as we can. And this is simplified. There's no distribution that we need to do, and there's no combining like terms that we need to do. So once we finish simplifying, we then just need to move our variables to one side of the equation and our constants to the other. So I'm just going to go ahead and subtract my 4x from both sides. Since I moved my 4x to the left side of the equation, or my variable to the left, that means my constant needs to be moved to the right-hand side. So I'm going to subtract the 8 over to the other side. All right, now I just go ahead and combine. Negative 3x minus 4x is negative 7x, and 5 plus negative 8 is negative 3. My last thing I need to do is, now that I am moved everything to one side, I just need to use my inverse operations to isolate my variable as much as I can. So since it's being multiplied, I need to divide. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So that means x is equal to a positive 3 over 7. All right, that is it for this question. All right, the next question. So same thing. I'm going to draw a line going down my equation. When something is occurring on one side of this line, I don't need to use my inverse. I only need to if I'm moving it to the other side. So the first thing I need to do is simplify as much as I can. So I'm going to go ahead and distribute all of these numbers in, since the parentheses mean to multiply. So then 6 times x is 6x minus 6. Then we have negative 5 times 3, so minus 15x. Negative 5 times 4 is negative 20, is equal to 8x minus 24. So you see here, these x's are on one side of the equation. So I don't need to use my inverse. I can just combine them. That will give me negative 9x. And then just like those x's, these constants are on one side. I am not moving them to the other. So I don't need to use the inverse operation because I'm staying on one side. I haven't done anything with this 8x and this 24. All right, now we're just where we were, just like we were in the other equation. We have our variables and our constants. We need to move our variables to one side. So I'm just going to go ahead and decide to move them to the left. So since I'm moving across this line, I am taking the inverse operation. They cancel out. And since I moved my variables to the left, I need to move my constants to the right. So that means I need to take the inverse operation of this minus 26, which is plus 26. And now I can go ahead and combine them. Negative 9x minus 8x is negative 17x. Negative 24 plus 26 is positive 2. And then the last thing, we need to take our inverse operations to finish isolating my x. So I need to divide by negative 17 because I want a positive x. So that means that x is equal to negative 2 over 17. This cannot be simplified anymore, and that is your final answer. Right, now, this is the last type of question that you will see. This is when we have two fractions that are equal to each other, so they're rational equations. What you need to do for this is, as you guys all pointed out, you don't like fractions. So that means let's get rid of them. And what we do is we cross multiply. So we take our one numerator and we multiply it with our opposite denominator. So it becomes 3 times 2x minus 3 is equal to, and then we take the other numerator and multiply it by the other denominator, and that gives me negative 2 times 4 minus 5x. And if you notice, this looks almost identical to the question that we were just solving. So now it breaks it down into a linear equation for us. So we draw our line, and we're going to go ahead and simplify. So we're going to distribute these numbers in. So we get 6x minus 9 is equal to negative 8x plus 10x. Right. The issue that I've been seeing in class for this so far is some people are only going to multiply this because they will forget to put it in parentheses. So make sure absolutely that you are putting these in parentheses to remind yourself everything is being multiplied. All right, now just like the last question, I'm sorry, this should not be minus 8x, it's just minus 8. But just like the last question, we're now solving this. We're going to move our variables to one side. So I'm going to decide to move all my variables to the left. So I will subtract 10x. So since I did that, that means all of my constants need to move to the other side. So I'm going to add over 9. So then I'll get 6x minus 10x is negative 4x. Negative 8 plus 9 is 1. I will divide each side by -4 to finish isolating my variable. And that means that x is equal to -1/4. All right, and that is your final answer.